So here we are, 2022. My room looks kind of bare right now because I literally just liquidated all of my camera gear. It's my goal in 2022 to simplify everything that I'm doing and kind of go with a minimalist setup and figure out what it is I need to get the job done and not to have too much clutter around, because I had a whole bunch of extra lenses, filmmaking gear, stuff that I wasn't really using too much, and things I was considering doing reviews on and so forth, but I hadn't really utilized it. So I said, I am just starting over. So I literally just packed up all of my stuff. I checked up with a few companies. MPB and Adorama gave the best prices, but between the two, MPB was only going to buy part of my gear, and then Adorama offered to buy everything that I had. Is a lot. And so they sent me some shipping labels, and I printed them out, boxed everything up, and shipped it out. So I currently only have one camera, which is a C70, and two lenses. My big question has been, where am I going to go as a filmmaker, what my needs are to get what I'm doing done, and what equipment I need to do work for my clients. Also, where filmmaking is going in 2022. We're seeing consumer cameras are kind of being phased out. Canon just killed the DSLR. They're not making any more DSLR. They're going to the mirrorless format. So there's going to be no native EF mount Canons anymore. And then cell phone technology, on the other hand, is just every year is just coming out with something new. The new Pixel Pro actually has star tracking on it, which is pretty exciting. Something else I'm disappointed about is that cameras are not implementing phone technology, and they're still using really outdated operating systems. And then meanwhile, I mean, if you could somehow incorporate a phone with all the touchscreen and apps and everything into a camera, that would be just wonderful. DJI has been dabbling in this. They've made the Pocket DJI. This is kind of cool right here. I think these were really overlooked when they came out. It's a Pocket DJI, because they're like $400 or $500 when they came out, and that's half the price of a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. So this is a tiny gimbal, and it shoots in 4K, 24, 30, and it shoots in 60K, I think, and then 4K cropped. But and it crops really hard, like 4:1. It's pretty neat. And then you can also flip it around just by clicking it 3 times, and then you're in selfie mode. And what you can do with these is you can actually plug this into the phone on the side and use the phone screen to use it like a camera. But what's wrong with it is if when you have this connected to the phone, if you just bump it a little bit, it loses connection and you lose signal and you lose your recording. This kind of technology being integrated with phones is really cool. I hope something goes further with that. Another thing that's coming on, not with just gimbals, but I think we're going to see the new DJI camera has the 4-axis stabilization, which is up and down. There's also some budget versions like this that you can attach to a gimbal, and you can hold your gimbal with 2 hands. And this one doesn't work very well, but there's springs in here, and so when you walk, it's supposed to absorb the shock of your walk, but the only way it works is if you're really moving your hands up and down like that, and then it will kind of absorb the shock. But if you're just walking normally, it doesn't really do a whole lot. It feels like somebody's DIY 3D printing project that's not very well made. It's really light, and then when you tip the camera back and forth, it just kind of flops around. And so I didn't get really excited about using this because I've got pretty heavy cameras. But I am thinking about getting a lighter camera. I do need like a mirrorless camera hybrid that will take pictures and video. I was looking at the R6, but I'm kind of disappointed that the R6, R5, that they don't have C-Log 2. I know they're completely capable of it, and why did Canon leave that out? And then there's the overheating issues with the R5 and R6. The R3, on the other hand, could be a possibility for a camera, but they are $6,000 right now. If those come down in price a little bit, I might think about trying to get into one of those. But the problem with the R3 is it's basically like a 1DX Mark II, which is a pretty heavy camera, but at least they have the flip screen in the R3. I haven't made up my mind yet, and I'm currently actually just filming my profile shot with my iPhone over here just to see if that will work. If I can get away with just filming my profile shot with like an iPhone, say on Filmic Pro, where you're getting 100 megabits a second and the video quality is good enough to slip a shot in here and there, I might consider just buying some really nice lenses for my C70 instead. I'm kind of excited about getting into Anamorphics this year. I've been looking at the Siri. They've come out with an RF mount which will fit right on the C70. And that 35 millimeter, I don't know how to calculate the anamorphics yet on that, but it makes a 35 millimeter probably closer to about a 20 millimeter, which is pretty wide. It's got a really cool look about it, but the flaring on it has that like a blue streak across the screen. I don't know if I'd want that for every shot that I use. It might be a cool effect to use occasionally. If I can just rent one and then not have to commit to buying one, they're like $1,500 for one of those Siri anamorphics. I haven't quite made up my mind what B camera I'm going to get yet, but I know I want something that can do photos and video. I was a little bit excited about the possibility of getting the Sony a7 IV, but that has cropped 4K in 60p, and it only has 1080 and 120p. And I'm pretty sure that the sensor and the image processor in the camera is capable of doing that, but why did Sony hold that back? I mean, the a7S III is already a couple years old. The FX3 is also a couple years old. I was looking into both of those cameras too, but they don't do pictures. They're only like 12 megapixel. And so, I mean, I do need a video camera, but maybe if I got like a FX3 or an A7S III, I could just get an additional cheaper camera for taking pictures. But it would be nice, you know, in the spirit of what I'm doing with a minimalist rig, to have one video camera and one hybrid camera to take care of my picture and video needs for a second camera. I'm gonna check something new out here. I don't know why I'm excited about this, but I wanted to pick this up for a desk mount microphone so I could use a higher quality microphone. I really hated using like a C-stand with a mic boom and all this, and I wanted something simple I could just put on the desk. Hopefully this will work out good for me. Ouch! There's a staple in there and I just poked it into my finger. So here we go. This will probably be part of my future vlog setup here. Okay, so I am back now and I just want to try this microphone out. And this is an old Audio Technica. I've had this thing for like 20 years now, but it's still holding its own. Ouch. I don't know if the windscreen makes a big difference or not. What do you think here? Windscreen off, windscreen on, and additionally this one here. We'll just try this out and see what happens. Okay, how does this sound? And with this, I'm just gonna leave it like this for the rest of the video. I have no idea what this sounds like. The only other thing I picked up this week was this is a mirror adapter for my Dodge Durango, and this is supposed to clip right on the mirror and enable me to put my phone on there. So I can navigate with it. It looks like I can tighten it down, so this will be up on my mirror and clipped on there nice, and then I can lock it into place and navigate, listen to my video podcast or whatever I'm doing while I'm driving or just sitting like waiting for the ferry, which is pretty nice. So it's not something I was planning, but I could actually use this to mount my cell phone on my mirror and film myself while I'm driving. So I guess I will be probably featuring that in a couple of my new videos. So that's enough of my random thoughts for this year, and I'll share in my next video what camera I decide to buy, whether it be the R6, R5, R3, or A7S III or the FX3, and get either of those two cameras and pick up a cheap camera for doing pictures with. And well, and also the Sony A7 IV. I may be leaning toward the A7 IV if I get a Sony, but I mean that's a completely different lens mount system. But another thought too is all I have is two EF lenses, so I have to either switch to the RF mount or Sony mount. But I'm kind of partial to Canon all the way around, because I can actually take an image out of a Canon camera and have to do very little tweaking to the colors or anything. I can almost just use it exactly like it is. But if Sony, you always got to do something funny with the greens or white balance or whatever. Oh shoot, I left that light on. I'm gonna have mixed lighting for the rest of this video. So, okay, I am done.